I'm the kind of guy who likes to get in close. Never thought I'd catch you blubbering. Wonder if Silco even saw that.
Twice. When he met me, and when I killed him. It's always me. Whether I'm pulling the pin or not, everyone who gets close to me dies.
We're gonna get into why Jinx... Ooh, wait a second. Fix this. Not why Jinx has to die, but why Jinx feels she has to die. A lot of our inner demons come back, that negative self-talk. And for Jinx, it's more than that. It's also how she had to deal with Milo and Clagor and Vi. Everyone calling her a Jinx, that she's the one that makes mistakes. And what happens is that becomes our inner monologue and our belief system. And then what happens is that all the mistakes that we make seem to enforce that this is the truth. And all of the things that would not enforce that become dismissed. And so it becomes all of these monsters that haunt us. And for Jinx, quite literally. And the problem with these statements is they end up becoming self-fulfilling prophecies, because if that's all that we believe that we are, we're going to do things that are going to enforce that. And that's why it's so important to be aware of what is your negative self-talk and to actually construct whether it's true or not. Factually true, not if you believe it's true.
Did Savika put you up to this? That's a past life, kid. Knows about as sweet as last year's milk. Jinx is dead.
And what we often want to do is we try to run away from the past, or we hide it, or we try to do other things to make us forget. The problem is that we don't actually forget. These are still the things that are going to haunt us. And if you don't actually deal with all of that negative self-talk and those worries and those fears, it's that they will continue to repeat themselves, especially if you're using maladaptive coping techniques to be able to get rid of them. You have to face the truth of your actions, but in an honest way, not in a way that is malignant or that's going to stop your progress. If you can look at the truth of who you were and actually work on becoming something different and then recognizing it when you do that, then you can cause concrete change where you can have a healthy, adaptive lifestyle. And that's the problem for Jinx, is that here she does all of these wonderful things. She's helpful, she's kind, she's being a really good big sister to Isha, but she doesn't recognize that as change. I think that for her, because whenever something bad happens, all of those voices come back. And I think that for a lot of us, when we do something negative, they come back and haunt us. And because of that, we think that we haven't changed. We seem to do this thing where we talk about negative self-talk, where we are black and white about situations. We're either all good or all bad, and we end up negating all of the good things or the things that are positive about us. Sometimes that's out of guilt. Sometimes that's because we worry that if we're too kind to ourselves, then maybe we'll fall into bad habits all over again. But actually what you want is to be concise and accurate, to be able to recognize it and to recognize the good steps that you're making in progress. And that can help you heal and create a healthier future.
But I got something going now. A friend. And I don't want to mess it up. Maybe that's what I was like for you. If you care so much about me playing your stupid revolution game, speak up now.
I think that's the other thing, is that especially when you have things that are precious to you, especially for Jinx, she fears so much that she's gonna mess up all of the good things in her life. And the sad part is that she's a really good and a healthy influence on Isha in a lot of ways. She's really caring, she's attentive, she's thoughtful about her, and she truly cares about her. Now, I'm not going to say that she has all adaptive mechanisms, the amount of violence that Isha's dealing with, but that is the stuff that is all around her. So I'm not saying she's perfect. A lot of times when I recognize people's growth and change, people are like, well, but she did all of these horrible things too. When we're talking about personal growth, it's about change, starting in one place and ending up in another place. That does not mean that you're going to be perfect. Let's be honest. None of us are perfect. No, Not even Jinx. And so you want to be able to do that in a really honest way, but recognize change, especially when you're trying to help mediate change in behavior. It's the change that you want to reinforce every step in the way with everyone that's around you in your life, but also with yourself.
Isha? Oh, okay. I get it. We're playing that game, are we? Isha?
I also want to say that I love how patient she is. I think that for a lot of people, especially when you've grown up, and Jinx understands what it's like to be thought of as a nuisance and to be constantly yelled at and to be negative. But she has chosen not to have that type of parenting, to be able to be calm, yet also to be directive. And I think that she uses a lot of her parenting techniques with using humor in order to diffuse situations that can also be really effective.
They got her.
What? You know what? Shut up, shut up. Shut up. Calling you.
Her name is Jinx.
She's my sister.
You have to
And that is really common. Often it's when we've made a mistake and screwed up that we get that avalanche of all of that negative self-talk, all of those things that we question about ourselves. And for Jinx, that's what happens to her. Whenever she's in a high pressure stress situation where she's doubting who she is or she feels she makes a mistake, that's when all of her negative self-talk and all of the voices that used to come from others that now she's imparted into herself. That's the problem with negative self-talk, is that it starts off often as someone else's voice and then we make it into who we are. We've taken that abuser or bully or negative person or person that yelled at us, and then we make it our inner monologue. And because of that, we can't get rid of it. We can't leave it. It becomes something that will play over and over in our head, and especially when we're worried or we feel like we screwed up. So in this case, she feels like it's her influence that has put Isha in danger, and so because of that, it's her fault. It becomes really hard to turn something off when it's something that you play so often, because anything that you hear enough times, you're going to believe that it's true, even if it's a lie. And so that's the other piece, is that almost all the time when I help people be able to confront their negative self-talk, almost always they tell me that it's not even negative. This is just the truth of their actions. And that becomes really difficult, because what happens to someone if you're constantly being negative, if you're always saying horrible things to them and they start to believe it? What happens to their self-esteem? What happens to their sense of empowerment? What happens to the people they choose and the jobs that they do? It impacts all the areas of your life. And so this is one area where I would say everyone should work on listening to what they say. And are you just being cruel and abusive to yourself?
Here I am, your big fat hero.
That moment gives me chills because I really feel that reaction from Jinx, this genuineness of everyone's actions, of how she's touched people by being there, the person that they've looked up to. But it isn't this over-the-top thing that is almost farcical, almost for Jinx not believing who she is, that she's doing it in such an extreme way. And the genuineness of how everyone reacts and is dearly thankful, and that she doesn't even understand how to take it, I think is very beautiful, and starts to change how she sees herself. But is that enough? Are these moments enough? No, they often aren't. Is that If you've gone through decades of treating yourself poorly, of believing horrible things, does one moment, one statement, can that actually reinforce so that you can see yourself in a different light? No, you need to work on this. This is not something that, even though you can start to be positive and believe in yourself, there is still this super highway of negativity that, because that pathway has been wired for longer, it fired for longer because neurons that fire together wire together. So you have a super highway of negativity, of believing horrible things about yourself. Having just a few moments of being kind or saying it a few times is not enough. This has to be a daily occurrence. And whenever you are negative and you say something that is a lie or that you know is overly extreme to what your behavior is, and you can just ask yourself, would you say this to someone else that had done the same thing? And if that is a no, then you shouldn't say it to yourself either. So what happens is that you have to confront it daily, constantly, to help build that rope bridge of being positive into another super highway and really cut out being negative. And so that's a lot of work. So just because you know it doesn't mean it's going to be enough to be able to confront when you feel worried and down and depressed or upset or make a mistake. When those demons of negative self-talk come back at you, you have to be prepared to fight.
You're late for Stinkma's great comeuppance.
This is one of the most beautiful moments. One is that she didn't say to the usual thing, which would be, why did you go? You shouldn't have done that. I'm so upset at you. She didn't have to. She understands that Isha understands that she made a huge mistake, so she doesn't need to have to do that. She wants to make sure that she's, and I don't think that it's conscious, but she's really stopping that generational trauma of always feeling bad. She knows how she felt whenever she made a mistake in the way people handled it. And instead of doing the same thing, she is doing something different. She used humor. She already knows that Isha gets it. She shouldn't have done that. And she's able to embrace her as well. And I think that that is really good parentage from Jinx. She wants to make sure that she's not repeating the mistake. Now, sometimes you can have the pendulum swing too far where you're going to be too permissive, and you don't want to do that either. You want to have that delicate balance. But I think that she's doing a good job in the case with Isha.
Wish I was just seeing things when you decided to throw him with the pilty goons who murdered Mom and Dad.
Well, at least they never had to see the psycho their daughter turned into.
Which one?
So there's a lot of these wonderful moments that you want to put in. I think that I might have to cut them out. There's just so many amazing moments, and this one is just so nice between Vi and Jinx, but I don't feel that it goes to why she feels she has to die or get rid of herself. I think that I'll just make it its own little video on Nebula, which you can check it out if you want to.
世界满是荒芜，我们抬头就能看见月亮。一起呼号，跳过每个时间的找不到。
One of the most heart-wrenching scenes in the entire, this broke me. And I think that in a lot of ways, this broke Jinx. This was the proof that yet again, someone that she cares about, whoever she cares about, dies, and dies because of her in some way, shape, or form. If she wants to be angry, if she wants to protect, if she wants to fight, no matter what she seems to do, the people around her die. And in this case, it was Isha trying to protect, and she did protect everyone else. And for everyone that says that Isha didn't have to do that, no, they had no weapons and they were surrounded by all of the Noxian forces. So yes, Isha's sacrifice did help save them. But for Jinx, it reinforced who she was, and for her to feel that she is the cause of everyone that she loves' death, that she's a liability.
You're never gonna give up on me, are you?
You don't have to worry about me anymore. You don't need to feel guilty about being happy. There's no good version of me.
What are you gonna do? Break the cycle.
And that often happens where people feel like they are so malignant, that there is no saving them, that they can't do better, that everything that they touch, they destroy. A lot of times people ask me, do I think that if Jinx had the proper therapy and treatment, could she see herself in a different light? I 100% do. Just dealing with her negative self-talk and some of the maladaptive ways that she deals with things. She already showed with the way that she reacts with Isha that she can do better and be better. But the problem is that if you do not confront that negative self-talk, the way that you treat yourself, it is so hard to do different behaviors because you constantly have that negativity playing in your head. And then whenever bad things happen, that's just proof that you were right, that those voices were right. So if you or you know someone that is dealing with this, definitely let them know. I'll put some links in the description of some areas that you can get help, but there is help. You can change this. And it is so devastating. You can just see the sadness on Vi's face that she can't be there with her sister. A lot of times, especially when you're dealing with a very deep, severe depression, you can't see any of the light or the good parts. That doesn't mean that they're not there. Problem is that depression is your brain shutting down. You're not producing dopamine, even when you're doing the things that you used to love. And for some people, depression isn't even sadness. It's a lack of motivation where you just don't feel, even for the things that used to bring you joy. And so everything, just waking up, can be such a slog. But you can fix, and there's all kinds of new treatments that are out there to be able to live and do better.
Take me this time. I know it's my fault that I'm here all alone. This world is a wasteland. Go. There was nothing to fight or protect. Maybe then I could finally be free.
And how many of us have been so upset, so frustrated that we just want to burn everything down? We want to get rid of everything. And we think that that's then going to erase the effect of what we had. But for Jinx especially, that would just cause more trauma and more loss and be another set of pain to Vi. She thinks that her not being there would set Vi free and that she would be able to be happy, but that's completely untrue. She would have to carry the loss of her sister, the person that she has fought her entire life to try to protect, to help, to fix the mistakes that she made with her, and she would never get a chance to do that. And they're also so wonderful together. When Jinx and Vi fight together, deal with something together, they do a really good job of working as a team. It's so sad that they don't really get a chance to show as much of that as I would have loved to see. But I'll be honest, I would just like to see a lot of scenes of them together. And I also love that Jinx was the one that was there when Vi needed her, betting on her, making sure that she's okay, protecting her as well.
You're too late, Echo.
Wait! Always a dance with you.
Now, I feel really mixed about this scene. I don't think that it really shows the amount of growth that I think that Jinx had. I'm not sure that with everything that she's seen and the things that she's cared about, that this would be her answer to it. I don't know how everyone else feels, but I definitely feel that it doesn't really show as much of growth in the things and the people that have sacrificed to it. I think that definitely after losing Isha and feeling like she's stopping Vi from living the life, that maybe she might feel that way, but I'm not so sure about it. I think that this is the one moment that I don't feel is certain that she would be at this stage that she's in. The thing is though, you never really know. And often when people are coming to the point of them wanting to kill themselves, I don't like the word unalive, I'm just going to use the words as they are. And we'll see what YouTube says. But when someone is suicidal, and yes, if you think that someone's suicidal, it would be a fair thing to specifically ask that. How do you feel? What's happening? How can I help? Because you can't really tell from someone's mood. That doesn't mean that they can't laugh and have moments of happiness. And I think that Jinx would be as saying to me, well, you don't really know what's happening inside, and people don't. And so it's fair to ask, and what can I do and what do you need? Because you can still laugh and seem happy, which people often do. They mask their behavior to make other people feel okay around them because they don't want to be a burden.
I think I'm just gonna sit here a minute, catch my breath. See if I can talk an old friend out of blowing us up.
And I'm not so sure. I think that we're missing a whole bunch of Echo saying, and those moments that you needed him to say was that I know that there is good in you. I have seen it. I have been there. So I think that that was missing, and that was the piece that she needed, because she said in the moment before that,
Wait! There's no good version of me.
there are no good versions of me. And I think that the same thing Vi could have said is that I've seen it. I've seen how you were with Isha. You were wonderful. You were actually a better sister to her in a lot of ways than what I was to you, and I'm sorry for that. And you want to use those concrete, actual moments that are proof. Not just to say you were a great sister to Isha. Remember when we fought and you did this, and you did such a great job of making her feel good and powerful and strong. And then you need to go through that discussion of that sometimes bad things happen, and she made this choice because she loved you that much, but it's not your fault, and to be able to deal with that. And so that's why a lot of times you want to do that through therapy or through groups or through talking and discussion, and to be able to mourn and forgive yourself. My favorite entrance of Jinx. I had to put it in. It's not even psychologically important, but I love it. I love it. That's why I had to do the hood. This had to be the outfit. There was no other choice to it. You could say maybe the contacts are too much. They should have the dark in the back, but like I had to go all out because please.
Bye! Hurry, you can make the other ledge! Bye! What are you? You can't save him!
I think that this is gonna be, the next scene is the proof that Jinx really is alive, that she chose to stay alive. She just wants everyone to think that she's gone because she thinks that she's a detriment. Slow motion so you can see that when Jinx speeds up, she does that speed movement, she leaves that trail of shimmer. And you can see it coming from her eyes when she's pushing away Warwick from Vi.
Always with you, sis.
I think that in this scene, this did a dual purpose for Jinx. Is she still alive? Yes, I would say definitely she is. And the proof is in that small streak of shimmer that you can see leaving into the airshaft. You see that pink streak of shimmer that comes off from Jinx. This worked perfectly into her plans of wanting Vi to believe that she's not there so that Vi can be safe, and also choosing to still live. And so I think that the reason that Jinx felt like she had to leave Vi alone is because she felt like she wants to keep Vi safe, and she feels like she's going to be the cause of damage to her. And I think that that's the thing, is that she felt like she was this malignancy, this bad seed, that there was something wrong with her, and she's caused all the people that she loves to have hardship or end up dying. And that is something that you want to be able to deal with and confront the truth of your actions. You don't have to fight your way out of every battle, or if you are gonna fight it with your mind, not just your fists. And you can do so with today's sponsor, Brilliant.org. Learn, enhance, grow with Brilliant's ever-expanding set of new courses. Brilliant makes college-level courses to help you be as strong as you need to be. Each course is designed for high-velocity learning to help you stay focused and reach your goals, so you won't be the last one to the fight. Brilliant makes learning like a game, with fun features that let you challenge yourself and compete with others. So it never gets boring, and we know that when learning is fun and engaging, it makes the knowledge stick better, so you remember more easily and quickly. And Brilliant has thousands of lessons, math, chemistry, physics, engineering, computer science, and many more, with new lessons being added every single month. I've done their courses on algebra, logic, geometry, and I found them engaging. But not just engaging, I found them easy to learn with because you just have to practice for 15 minutes a day. That's it. No one can tell me that they don't have 15 minutes. And that's the way that I did their course on logic. I got to construct those critical thinking skills that are the basis for mathematical reasoning. And that makes it fun because it's interactive. And that's the cool part, is that you can cut it into little tiny manageable chunks. And for me, the wonderful part about Brilliant is they have all of these cute animations, and I'm a visual, hands-on learner. That helps me learn better when I can see something, a concept, not just read it or hear it. And if you're still not sure, why don't you just try everything? Yes, everything Brilliant has to offer for free for a full 30 days. You can do a lot of courses in 30 days. Just head on over to brilliant.org/Georgia Dow or click on the link in the description. And yes, doing this helps out my channel. So by learning something for free, you will also be helping my channel out as well. And if you want more, which I'm sure you will, you can get 20% off of an annual premium subscription by clicking on the same link. So just click on the button on the screen or head on over to brilliant.org/Georgia Dow. Yes, Georgia Dow. You could use other links, but don't use mine. Clicking on that button helps out my channel, so thank you so much to Brilliant, and thank you to you. Hopefully I'll see you in the next video. So you can let me know if that answers the question of why Jinx felt like she had to die. Well, die. She wanted Vi to think that she wasn't there so she could move on and live her life. And I would say that I think that they would have had a wonderful relationship, all three of them together, with her being that little sister and pestering both Vi and Caitlin. And I think that it would be actually a really lovely relationship. So hopefully on one of the spin-offs, we will get to see just that. You can let me know your thoughts about Jinx and why she felt like she had to have Vi believe that she was gone in the comments below.